Hi everybody, welcome to Starsound Studios. We're in Studio A and we're going to talk to you about mixing today. There's four things that I want to tell you about. One is there's no good mix without recording properly. So that's the first step. Capture your audio the way both level-wise and what you want to your instrument to sound like. Okay, so let's take a guitar. We're going to have to set the proper level as it's inputted so that we're not clipping. I get mixes or tracks sometimes to mix, and those tracks are already, that individual track is already clipping a plugin. There's no room, nowhere to go. So I have to automatically turn everything down, start at a basic level, and then turn everything back up as the song grows. So we want to make sure that the mic on a guitar cabinet is coming in at a level that is not clipping a track. Okay? The second thing is mixing through your master chain. This is really important, and this is where mistakes are made a lot of the time. Somebody will mix their song and they go, oh, this is great, this is the perfect mix, this is what I wanted, sounds great, and all I need to do now is put a limiter on the end and turn my whole track up. The problem is they didn't mix through that limiter to begin with, and their whole mix falls apart and they don't understand, well, all I needed to do is raise a level. No, what you want to do is put that limiter on to begin with. Even at zero, you don't raise the level or anything, like just have it on. You're mixing through it. Now you're making your sound choices based upon your sound already going through that limiter. So when you turn it up, it's just now level. Which brings me to the third point. It's a sandwich analogy, okay? So think about this. Okay, you have frequencies of your song, right? And so I look at it like a sandwich. Okay, so you have your bread, you have the meat of whatever sandwich you're having, tomatoes, lettuce, and then your top piece of bread. Okay, so that's your whole frequency spectrum. Well, the piece of meat isn't inside the bread. It's on top. And what happens is there's certain instruments, let's say a kick drum and a bass guitar. Okay, so they're fighting for the same spot. So what we have to do is carve a little bit out of one, carve a little bit out of the other one. So if we want our kick drum to have the low end of the whole song, then that's going to occupy the lower end. And then the bass will occupy the higher end of that space. And this way, you don't create masks. Okay, if they're both trying to fight for the same frequency, it's like putting your hand over your mouth, and you can't understand anybody if they have their hand over their mouth. It's the same kind of thing. You don't hear out of the speakers exactly what those sound like because of that reason. They're masking each other rather than working together. One way that we solve the problem is, remember our guitar analogy when we record things right? Well, we have a dynamount. It actually gets put onto a mic stand, and it will move a microphone side to side, backwards and forwards, and on axis along the guitar cabinet. And so we can have our artist play the guitar. We get the guitar sound out of the cabinet or whatever pedals we have. This is what we want in the air in our studio. Then the trick is, can we get that same sound coming out of our speakers? And this is where the dynamount comes in. So then what we do is we keep moving it along the cabinet. If you move the mic that far, you get a completely different guitar sound, even with the same speaker, same cabinet, same microphone. So this is how we get the same out of the air in the recording studio, out of the speakers. And then once we do that, we're not done, because now the next guitarist goes. But did those two talk about how those two guitars fit together? My guess is not, right? So Now we have the same problem. We have the sandwich analogy again. Okay, so now we have two guitars trying to occupy the same amount of space. And so let's say one guitarist is playing open chords and one guitarist is playing bar chords. We'll let the heavier end and the lower end of this piece go with the bar chords. Let the higher end go with the twangy chords. And this way, those guitars now fit together rather than fighting and getting that mask analogy that we were talking about again. So this is the reason why you come to Starsound Studios, because we understand all of these, and hopefully this will help you in your recording. Until next time.